Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Thursday, which means it's time for the tea break. And this time we're going to bring you something special because obviously it's been well documented. I've mentioned it quite a few times. In fact, in our very first Bundesliga A-League review, I was off the back of United beating Liverpool at Anfield in the Premier League. That's the point I'm making. We also support teams in England, obviously, for those of you who are new to this channel. I'm a Manchester United fan, Ben's a West Bromwich Albion fan. So we've never really spoken in great detail about anything that's going on in football in England because we try and focus on the Bundesliga and for some weird reason the A-League. So we figured why not use this tea break as a chance to, give a little insight to what's going on in the Premier League because there's some big stuff happening, and we'll even delve into the Championship a bit as well because there's also some big stuff happening there as well. A lot of it going round. Obviously, we got Tottenham potentially on the verge of relegation. Arsenal potentially on the verge of another title bottle. Come on, fingers crossed. I don't. That shows you the level at which I hate Arsenal now, and other United fans as well. I'm not even joking. That we genuinely want our rival club to win the Premier League, just so Arsenal don't.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if it was Liverpool, it'd probably be a different story, but we really don't give two fucking tosses about City whatsoever. So,
No, not particularly.
small tin pot League One club is what they are, and will always be. And if one of those charges stick, then every single thing they've done in the last decade or so to us is absolutely null and void. Whether it is in reality or not, to us United fans, you best believe it is. But yeah, we're just gonna have a good old chat about English football, aren't we?
We are. It was the A-League last week, and we sort of managed to get 45 minutes, maybe less out of that. So I think this will be an interesting chat. I mean, I'm keen to look at not only obviously Arsenal possibly bottling the title, but I'm also going to look at the bottom of the table as well, because as we said, Spurs are in quite a lot of shit. But I find the relegation scrap, and especially that drama on the last day, which, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we've had a really sort of last day scenario relegation battle for a little while.
Really?
And I find that one of the most fascinating parts about the league. But I mean, not only that, I mean, you got Brighton in ninth. I'll just sort of go into it. Fabian Hürsler, who won a Bundesliga 2 title at St. Pauli a couple of seasons ago. He's done great things with them. But Spurs, I'm going to sort of start with Spurs. I did share this with you, I think, last night or the day before. There's a lot of memes coming out on social media about poor old Spurs, or not so poor old Spurs. I guess karma for getting rid of Ange, no more Ange ball. I'm a bit older than you, so I know this song, but I'll go through it anyway. For those who might know, there was a George Michael Elton John song done in the early 90s. I think it was called Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, but someone, and I can't remember the name of the guy, Cameron, I was going to say David Cameron, but that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, I doubt former British PM David Cameron did that.
No, but anyway, the song's basically titled Don't Let the Spurs Go Down a League, and I tell you what, if you guys haven't seen it, go and check it out on Instagram. It's one of the funniest things I've seen all week, and talking about having, going to play at Lincoln with pies and tea, just brilliant wordplay. And, I guess looking at that sort of bottom four, I actually hope West Ham do stay up because I do want them to play Millwall in the league next year if Millwall, somehow get promoted in the promotion playoff. Hopefully, in poor old Wolves, there'll be a Black Country derby against Albion, who I will talk about later on in there.
Oh, will they? That's the big question.
Potentially not, but I'll get onto that later. But I mean, that's sort of. I mean, I as you know, I don't watch the top flight as closely as you do, being a Man United fan. But I do certainly like some of the aspects around, where teams end up. Teams that have risen. Brighton, like I said, Sunderland 10th. First season back, they've done a great job. And obviously, Burnley, bit of a yo-yo club. Obviously, Spurs that we've talked about, Forest, who had such a great year a couple of years ago, or maybe even last year, and they're sort of on the last season. Palace as well, and I think with would it be about the same number of games left as the Bundesliga, 4 or 5. 6. It's going to be a great finish.
Yeah.
But let's, we'll move on to Arsenal. That's why we're all here, right? So.
Look, let's do the first big talking point. Arsenal. Sorry, just give me 1 second. I've just got to do some symbolism here for those watching at home. Arsenal, ladies and gentlemen, right in my hand right here. Ben, you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm pretty sure you can guess what I just did.
If it's similar to that Man City fan that went viral last week, I can probably guess, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we've got to talk about the fact that Arsenal and their beloved online fans are once again just absolutely delivering bountiful amounts of banter and just enjoyable content for all us other fans to sit back and enjoy, because they're an annoying old bunch, aren't they, the online fans? Mm-hmm. And it's great that a couple of weeks back, just before the international break, before that League Cup final against City, all those Arsenal fans online, or most of those online Arsenal fans, were all going, oh, the quadruple's ours, oh yeah, we're going to win the quadruple, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, up the arse, yeah, quadruple, yeah, we're going to do it all. We're going to do it all, we're going to win it all. And then they lose, and then Mikel Arteta, Lego head himself, goes and does the most typical thing of him you can imagine and tries to legitimately draw a fucking cup final. I know. Mm-hmm. And wouldn't you know it, they lose. And in normal time as well, because that's normally what happens when you try and lose a cup final. The opposition are trying to win it, I think you'd find, because usually when you're playing a cup final, both teams are trying to win it. Because you have to win it, you can't draw it to get the cup, but whatever. But then all the Arsenal fans just writing off the League Cup like it's completely insignificant to them. A team that haven't won it like in over 20 years, 25, 30 years, I think, even since they last won it. And then there's like, oh, well, it's whatever. I mean, we'll still get the treble, we still got a Champions League, we still got the FA Cup, we still got a Premier League. We had the international break. First game back from the international break, they lose at St Mary's against Championship side Southampton and get knocked out the FA Cup.
Go Saints, yes.
How do you like them apples, Arsenal, coming home? all of that's just coming back on you. And then they start writing the FA Cup off as well. The last, which, by the way, was the last trophy they won way back in 2020. This so-called project from Arteta is clearly gathering momentum, not. And then it's, oh, well, we're still 9 points clear in the Premier League, so we're going to win the Premier League. And, we got an easy run in the Champions League, so we're going to go win that, no problem. And then they go lose at home to Bournemouth in the next Premier League game, and then all of a sudden, when City beat Chelsea comfortably the following day, Arsenal are no longer 9 points clear, it's 6 points, with City's game in hand and the fact that they still have to play Arsenal at the Etihad, which all of us proper football fans of English football out there know. There is no fucking way on earth Mikel Arteta is playing for anything other than a draw against City at the Etihad, which means City are basically going to win that game. So if they basically win their game in hand, Man City win the league, Arsenal bottle another title, I rest my case. And I'm not even going to delve into the Champions League because, yeah, they've scraped past Sporting, but even if they get past Atletico in the semi-final, if we can get past PSG in the semi-final of ours, or even if PSG beat us, there's no fucking way Arsenal are beating Bayern or PSG in a Champions League final. I'm sorry. I'm not having it. I would love Bayern to play Arsenal in a Champions League final to see what it's like coming up against Lego Head's fucking let's draw a final tactics. So yeah, I mean, look, that's where we have to start with Arsenal. I mean, like, what have you thought about it all from an outside perspective from yourself, Ben, who doesn't pay as much attention to it, of how ridiculously inevitable this shit is year in, year out, and how fucking hilarious it is that it happens all the time, and as fans of other teams, we just get to sit back and watch that all unfold every season almost.
Yeah, like, it is. I was just going to say, it is quite funny from an outside point of view. Like I said, I might watch like a couple of games over a weekend every fortnight or whatever it might be. I just find it funny. I'm looking at the table now that, Liverpool won it last year. Did they not?
Yeah, but Arsenal weren't. That last year was the exception. Yeah, they finished second, but they didn't really bottle it because they were never really in pole position. Yeah. But the 2 seasons prior to that, they were at certain points and threw it away. So if they do it this season, it's going to be the third time in 4 years they've managed to bottle a lead in the last couple of months of the season.
Yeah.
Funny, and it speaks for itself. Mikel Arteta's win rate as a manager in April is 44%.
Mm-hmm.
Pep Guardiola's is up in the 70s. That's where titles are won and lost, in April. They can be as good as they want in the first half of the season, but you don't win the fucking title in November. You win it in April, you win it in May. Like, it's ridiculous. And you can all see it coming because this guy is so... I don't think I've seen a manager not who's as paranoid as Mikel Arteta. Like, he has to be the most paranoid manager football's ever seen. A couple of seasons ago, when his Arsenal team were first starting to take prominence of being a title challenging team, they were playing really beautiful, fun to watch attacking football, but they blew a title lead 2 seasons in a row doing that. So he was obviously then thought, let's tighten this up defensively now because we can't be silly, which I get, fair enough. But then last season we started to see this weird development of this just completely opposite. It's not like he just tightened the defence a little bit but kept the attacking freedom that they showed. He just said, fuck the attack. All I'm going to care about is defence and scoring from set pieces. Now, we saw that creep in last season, but this season, my fucking God, how many times we've seen Arsenal in games play the set pieces to score goals.
Yeah.
Like, if they win the Premier League this season, I don't think it's ever happened before in Premier League history, maybe even English top flight history, that a team that's won the league has won it but not had any of their attacking players feature even remotely close to getting into the team of the season.
Yeah.
And if that happens with Arsenal, there's a chance that might happen. Like, because Gyökeres is a flat track bully, scores tap-ins against the lower opposition, pretty average against any big team. Saka is a shadow of himself in this new Arsenal way of playing. He's so just cowardly on the ball now, and just no. Same with Odegaard. Madueke's just shit. We all knew that. Martinelli's very average. Trossard's age is catching up with him. He's not the same player he used to be. And Kai Havertz is Kai Havertz. Like, he's never been prolific. Like, except when he was in Leverkusen, but those days are far gone now. It's just all about defence and just the way they set up. I mean, you've seen it, obviously, the corner routines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's obviously showing now in these games and this run they've been on recently, where teams are now starting to crack the Arsenal code and realising that when you stop their main threat, which is corners, all of a sudden you've got very little to worry about. It's not like when you're trying to crack a code of like a great Klopp team or Pep team or Sir Alex team, where it's like, we stopped one thing, but fuck me, they've got threats elsewhere on the pitch.
Yeah.
If you stop that Arsenal set piece threat, they're basically a team in a relegation battle at that point. In terms of how else they can they've got so little in terms of open play creativity. It's shocking.
Yeah.
And that's why you can see this bottle coming a mile off. It was just about a matter of time of waiting for when it was going to happen rather than if it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I will caveat is this isn't the same level of City team that we've seen in the past, and there's still every chance that this City team may not be able to win every game from here on out to the end of the season, and Arsenal may win the league because of that. But I still think this City team have the capability of winning every game. It's just whether they can. Because I know Arsenal have the capability of bottling a league title, and it's not whether I think they can, it's whether I think they will, and I do. So...
yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, I think... From my point of view, I think it's actually... I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with Arsenal yet. I know they've got City coming up this weekend, but it's actually nice that City's not the team that's, winning it every year now for a change, as much as...
Oh, no, trust me, I mean, they didn't win it last season.
Oh, yeah, I know, yeah.
But the thing is, right, I want to say, like, no one wants Arsenal to win it other than Arsenal fans, because everyone knows how fucking annoying they'll become if they win this Premier League title. How they'll hail Mikel Arteta like he's the best manager in Premier League history or some nonsense like that. Like, we want to talk a bit about his management styles. I mean, this guy is a fucking meme. He's a walking managerial meme. And this guy's in the same league as the fucking college professor Liam Rossini. The guy who came up with the shit like, oh, I don't manage men. I don't manage, or was it? I don't manage men. I age men, or some shit like that. The fucking LinkedIn professor that is Liam Rossini. Oh, let's do a huddle around the ball so we can respect the ball. That sort of shit. Yet Mikel Arteta is still surpassing him in terms of pure memery. Like, this has been going on for years. Remember, I told you, like, earlier today to have a look at some of this stuff. I'm not sure if you got the chance to or not, Ben, but one of these was on the All or Nothing Arsenal show that came out a couple of years ago, when before a big game at Liverpool, he had the players in training, running around training on the training pitch and set up speakers that were playing You'll Never Walk Alone. To try and prepare the players for the atmosphere at Anfield, and then beyond that, like, we've had the light bulb thing, we've had the pen thing for connection, like, oh, every player hold a pen so we can feel like we're connected, or the light bulb, it shines when we all put power into, like, this guy is fucking ridiculous when it comes to the way he tries to motivate people. What was the best one was the most recent one. Apparently pre-game, I think it was before the Bournemouth game. Firstly, he put out an announcement to the fans who were coming to the Emirates that day to bring the atmosphere, bring everything, motivate. Like, hang on, you're in the title race, you're 9 points clear, and you're telling your own fans to motivate the team and bring the atmosphere. That's ridiculous, that is. Like, and then apparently he was playing before the game or in the lead up to the game. He was showing the players these AI TikToks of songs chanting their names. Like, what the fuck is he smoking? I'm sorry, Mikel Arteta is an absolute piss take of a manager these days. The shit. Could you imagine being a player in this current Arsenal team, and you go to training and you rock up to the meeting room for your meeting for the match on the weekend, and your manager's fucking playing TikToks of AI slop to motivate you? What, like, how do you think these players are reacting to this nonsense?
Yeah.
Like, I would have stopped at the fact that he's making us train to fucking speakers blaring "You'll Never Walk Alone" to try and replicate a football match atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like
that reminds me, and it's something I'll gladly sort of explain to you once we're done with this, because obviously it's an AFL reference. But
what I'll say, what I'll say is it. Arteta is, like, going back to the point of me being paranoid. This is all paranoia based. All this shit he does, this completely over the top shit. He's too emotional. He's too paranoid. And when anything goes wrong, he basically goes to fucking DEFCON 1 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
actually,
full explosiveness in terms of just like can't control his emotions and has to do the complete thing that he thinks will. What he thinks will work, which in reality is just another absolute meme of a decision.
And speaking of sort of weird decisions, I'll actually explain this because it actually does have some relevance to what you were talking about with Arteta, blaring out "You'll Never Walk Alone." So, and it's got sort of title implications. But if they bottle it again, he can always do this. So back in it was the pre-season of 20. Sort of after 2017. So Adelaide decided to go on this, like, top secretive camp, like player camp.
Was this Crows?
Yeah, Crows, yep. After losing the grand final to Richmond the year before, it was like a drought-breaking flag for Richmond. So it was like one of those sort of heavy sort of commando sort of style camps. What they basically did, from memory, and if you're watching, guys, please comment if I've made any errors on this, but
on the off chance that any of the Adelaide Crows players from 2017 are watching a podcast.
I'm just going to see if I can. Oh, here we go. It's even got its own Wikipedia page. So what had basically happened was one of the the most memorable parts of this. It was a group called Collective Minds who run the camp. They're like sort of mindset and all that sort of stuff. And apparently one of the things that had happened was they had all the players on the bus, and I'm pretty sure they were blindfolded or something like that. And they basically had the Richmond theme song like blaring through the bus for God knows how long. It was quite a long time. It's just ridiculous. Like, so when you mentioned that Arteta sort of had the had Liverpool's theme song sort of blaring for the players to get the atmosphere. This is immediately what I thought of. It's not the same thing, but
here's the clincher.
Yeah.
Did it work?
No, it did not, because I haven't been in the grand final. They haven't been in the grand final since, and I probably mentioned to you they were the best team in the home and away season last year. They finished top, and they went out of finals in straight sets last year. So it clearly didn't work. So yeah, pretty fucked up though at the time.
And you know what's funny? It hasn't worked for Arteta and Arsenal ever. Who the fuck?
There you go. So
who the fuck had fucked it? Like.
Yeah.
I mean, look, an absolute meme. And look, the one before we move on from the inevitable Premier League bottle jobs, and move on to another team in North London who's having a sorry old time of it of late. It rubs off on the players. This overly emotional approach to management that Arteta has just clearly rubs off on the players. You're not showing belief in the players. Like, people have suggested this online before, and I'll echo this. You'd never do this, but why can't Arteta? Like, the best thing Arteta can do when they're in a bad run of form and they're worried they could genuinely bottle a title race again, because the players in the squad, they've been there before with this same team. So they've got that fear in their heads, and you can tell that they're playing with fear at the moment.
Yeah.
That Arteta should just be like, lads, we need to just calm down, not stress, not panic. Take the night off, go out, go have a fun time, get on the piss, do whatever you want, just relax yourselves and come back tomorrow refreshed, and we'll start training for our next game. Because realistically, that might actually work, because it resets their heads and like, hang on, we're still 6 points there. If we win every game, we won 6 games in a row easily earlier this season. So if we do that again and win 6 games in a row, or get one draw maybe at the Etihad, because I accept he'll still fucking play for a draw at the Etihad, and win the rest of the games, then we'll be fine and we'll win the league.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's basically going to come in most likely and tell them, go, guys, I need to show you this Jake Humphries high performance podcast right now, and afterwards we're going to watch this Tony Robbins TED talk.
Tony Robbins. That's good. The one piece of advice I'd give to Arteta, if he's trying to win the league, do not, and I repeat, do not take your team to the movies.
I thought you meant just do not, as in do not win the league, because I can agree with that one.
Don't win the league, but also, if you've won, say, 10 games in a row, don't take your team to the movies like a certain club did in 2004, and we both know who that is, but that, because that can certainly derail a playing group, as that's exactly what it did. So, but look, I don't know sort of which way it's going to pan out. I mean, it's 1 versus 2 this weekend, so I don't really have any interest in either team winning it, to be honest.
I know exactly which way it's going to pan out. It's going to pan out with a City win, trust me.
Yeah.
Or at the very least an Arsenal draw, because they're going to play for that fucking draw like you wouldn't believe.
My sort of views on whether Brentford can play.
I mean, look, they've just played Sporting.
Yeah.
They've just gone to play Sporting at the Champions League with a 1-0 lead, going into a home leg where they've been really good all season at home, mainly. They've only lost 2 games at home all season.
Yeah.
Just recently to Bournemouth, and then against us in January.
Yeah.
That's the only 2 games they've lost all season at home.
Yeah.
They're 1-0 up after winning away from home against Sporting Lisbon, the easiest team left to play in the Champions League.
Yeah. I mean,
and they fucking sat back and had 1 shot on fucking target.
Yeah.
This guy is so predictable, it's ridiculous.
But I mean, my eye is going to be more on, when I look at the upcoming 6 weeks or 6 games left of the season, 2 things. Can either Brentford or Brighton play European football next season? So, or even
Brentford, I think, yes.
Sunderland, for that matter. Probably not. But I mean, Brighton have got Spurs this week, and Sunderland's got Villa.
I mean, well, that's a perfect way to cross over to the other side of North London. They do indeed have Tottenham, who we go from the top of the table to the other end of the table for this one, and another team in North London who, right, fine, Arsenal aren't having a bad season, all things considered, but Tottenham most certainly are, and it just looks like it's going from bad to worse. They lost at Sunderland on the weekend. I know it was a very unlucky goal, but it's losing in the position they are. I mean, West Ham's massive win against Wolves, and now Spurs are thoroughly entrenched inside the bottom three now as a result of the results last weekend, and that means they now need to better results or match results at least of the team. Well, they need to better the results of the teams in front of them, and if West Ham, excuse me. They're in a position now where if West Ham drop points, they need to pounce, and if West Ham win, they need to win just to keep within 2 points of them. They're now in this position, and we haven't done them any favours by losing to Leeds, which I think has pretty much guaranteed Leeds' safety at this point. So fair credit to Leeds and Sunderland, both of them staying up. When heading into this season, all of us were thinking, is it even possible for teams that come up from the Championship to stay up anymore? Well, yeah, Leeds and Sunderland, Sunderland definitely, and Leeds probably as well, will also stay up, so fair credit to them. But yeah, about Tottenham, I mean, their club is an absolute mess and a half right now. The injuries, the awful January transfer window they had, the ownership problems, holding on to Thomas Frank for far too long, bringing in Igor Tudor, which was just the weirdest experiment ever. And then obviously now they've gone with Roberto De Zerbi, which if it works, it's not really a long-term project. He's fell out with boards. He fell out with the Marseille board literally this season. He fell out with the Brighton board a few seasons ago. I mean, that's one of the best-run clubs in England, like maybe even the world. Like, how the fuck can you fall out with Tony Bloom? Like, that's ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. Like, so, if the De Zerbi thing keeps them, if De Zerbi keeps them up, then fair credit, it's at least kept them up, but it ain't going to be a long-term project. And if they go down with him, like, is he, Championship's a whole different kettle of fish, like, than the Premier League.
Absolutely.
So it may not, and he may walk anyway. He might not want to manage in the Championship. Who knows?
Tough league to bounce back, bounce back up from.
Even though you expect them to win every single week when they're down there. I mean, it will be huge. It will be ginormous if Spurs get relegated. It really will. Like, it will break the barrier of the top six, the so-called top six being invincible, because that will clearly prove they're no longer, and it will end the debate of you, and it will end that kind of long-standing debate: is couldn't you be too good, too big, or too good to go down? With Tottenham get relegated, then you can. Then you can go down no matter how big your club is or how good your club is in terms of size and stature and revenue, because they would have gone down. I mean, look, how do you see the Spurs relegation, well, potential relegation, I should say?
As I said at the start of the episode, it's karma for them getting rid of Big Ange. It's I just think that they've sort of made their bed now. They can
finish 17th under him last season.
No, I know, but I'm just saying it's it's just, had they not sacked him, he may well still have been there, and I just think that was a really poor move. Yes, I'm Australian. Yes, I'm a Melburnian, and I think the guy's a fantastic manager. I just think that they made the wrong call. Yes, but he won a premiership, won a championship with Brisbane Roar, although he managed to play who's a complete flopper, and that's not good. But but I think in terms of if it does happen and they do go down, they've only got themselves to blame. I was thinking about this the other day, and will they, if they do go down, are they probably likely to go straight back up? Probably, but I'm sort of more looking at it as an opportunity for Millwall to take their place, and how good's a I'm going to do an accent now. How good's a South London derby got to be against West Ham?
South London,
proper that.
East London.
Get in.
East London.
especially a
I'm
derby
sorry,
that's
that
going to
was
have to start at midday.
I'll cover that for you. I'll cover
so,
that for you and redeem you. How good's the fucking East London derby between Millwall and the fucking Hammers?
Yeah.
All
And
right.
I think Palace as
Jeff
well.
Bell versus Danny fucking Dyer.
Good old Danny Dyer. It's Green Street Hooligans. I've certainly seen that movie a number of
Bring
times.
them fucking Muppets to the fucking den any fucking day of the fucking week, my son. And then the West Ham fans on the other side. I mean, I wish we were still in Upton Park, but I mean, I'm ready to welcome them. I'm ready to welcome them fucking bellends down to London Stadium any time of the week, my boy.
Yeah.
Jared will show
I think for Spurs, it's it's going to. I mean, yes, they're only 2 points behind West Ham, but from what I've seen of them and heard of them, they just don't have any confidence, and just they're a shambles really. And it's there's some good quality teams in the second division that are threatening. I mean, Coventry's probably going to go up this weekend, I'd say, and Ipswich maybe joining them as well, and then we'll see who the third team's going to be.
To be fair, Ipswich losing to Pompey was out of the blue, in my opinion. Literally this morning, I think it was. That was a massive result for Portsmouth. Puts them above you guys now, I think. I mean, look. I mean, speaking of you guys, there's some news that broke recently that you told me about literally today. I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. West Brom. I've definitely been keeping an eye on their fortunes over the last few weeks. They've had some good results, but the main talking point, which I found out last night or the night before, which I mentioned to you, is they're possibly in the firing line for a points deduction. As a few other teams, Leicester City and obviously Sheffield Wednesday have suffered the same fate. If this happens, and I mentioned this to you before we came on air, it's an absolute disgrace if they're going to do it in the last month of the championship season. It's an absolute joke. West.
The question is, are you confident you're not going to get the deduction?
Oh yeah, I am, because according to the club, they've gone by the books, and it says this Chinese owner Liar or whatever his name was, Lau or I don't know, and that sort of ownership completely fucked us as a club for a number of years, and we're sort of only coming back from that under, I think it's Patel, like the new ownership of the last season or so.
The Indian ones,
American ownership, yeah. So
they're American.
I think so, yeah. So hopefully it doesn't come to that, because I think it'll take away from the work of the last sort of month or so to really get back from what was looking like a pretty precarious position. Yes, it's not safety yet.
I mean, the question is whether you stay up or even drop into League One, depending on what happens with this points deduction. And I mean, you said it was only 3 points, so the chance you might stay up regardless.
From what I've heard, yeah.
But you still got, I guess, entertain the possibility of a potential relegation if you have the points deduction. So whether you stay up or drop, do you keep James Morrison? Because I actually think for now, he looks like the right man for you. A club legend, obviously, of recent years, like he is. There's no doubt about that.
If we get relegated, then yes. I want to say, if there's no other, this is hilarious, me even saying this, because we've been through how many managers in the last 2 seasons now. I'd say if we say, yes, I think. He's had the job on multiple occasions as a caretaker. We're not in any sort of possibility of getting promotion next season, I don't think, and that's the honest truth. Yeah. I think, give him that time to sort of mould the squad. He seems to have a good rapport with the players. He's a former Baggies legend himself, as you said. But I think he's got to bring in guys around him that can get the club up. Get Jonas Olsen in as defensive coach, and Zoltan Garrett as set-piece specialist, Thomas Kuszak as goalkeeping coach. Chris Bruns as well. Northern Ireland's possibly best ever player, maybe. That's a bit of a stretch, but get some guys, get some good. Boaz Myhill, is he still on the coaching staff? I don't know, but Paul Sharner, guys like that, Kevin Phillips. some guys that could really help lift this squad because they've got some decent players, but
Roman Bednar.
yeah, Roman Bednar, who
Ishmael Miller.
played for Albion so long ago. They did beat City in a game once, I remember.
I'll tell you one of the first times I remember watching West Brom play was in the FA Cup in 2008, in the 07-08 season. And it was away at Bristol Rovers at the Memorial Ground, and beat them 5-1. Yeah. And Ishmael Miller scored a hat trick in that game. I remember
that game, yeah. And did bugger all for the rest of his career.
When Tony Mowbray was your manager, because you got promoted that season, then came up in 08 to the Premier League, and then went right back down.
Yeah, that's right. I think that was when Kevin Phillips was playing for us at that point. But I think if no matter what happens, if they survive or they go down, I'm hoping it's the former. I think they need to give him some time in that role because, like I said, they've gone through a number of managers and they just haven't worked. I mean, Corberan I thought was pretty good until he wasn't. Gordon Ramsay's nephew, Eric Ramsay, who I think was on the books at your mob for a while, wasn't he?
Oh, God, one of the worst set-piece coaches I've ever seen.
And one of the worst coaches I've ever seen.
Yeah, our record from corners when we had Eric Ramsay in charge of set-pieces was atrociously shit. Like, we couldn't defend them, nor could we score from them. Like, we were so bad. There was a period of time, and my brother, he'd agree with this as well. Like, there was a period of time when we had Eric Ramsay as our set-piece coach, where every time we conceded a corner, we would be watching the game and go, well, we're probably going to concede here. And most of the time, that turned out to be true. Cheesy was a fucking shite coach.
Yeah. And that proved to be the case.
So it didn't surprise me one bit when he absolutely failed miserably as your manager.
Yeah, I don't know what the thought process was, but I mean, if we're gonna get a new manager, just get Pepe Mel back because his press conferences alone were the stuff of legends because he was
his press conferences were stuff of legends. But I'm pretty sure for you and your fans, his every match day was the stuff of nightmares on.
Well, it was, but at least he was enthusiastic, and him and his translator in the post game just sort of knowing that we lost, but just not quite knowing how to put it together. Was but I mean,
do a manager swap. Swap. Get Blessing and give James Morrison to Powley.
No, I'd rather have Herzler back. But
no,
that's not gonna,
you're good with
that's
that.
not going to happen. But I will say, and this will be something that we'll probably cover on Monday, depending on the result. And I think we talked about it the other day. I mean, I'd take Stefan Baumgart.
Powley, maybe not West Brom.
Well, he can go to West Brom. I mean, I don't really care, to be honest. But I just think, I mean, it's a big weekend ahead for all those sides. I mean, we've got Köln. I don't even know who Albion have got. I'm just going to quickly check on that. Preston, there we go. So Preston, good old Preston North End. That's who knows which way that's going to go. Preston are probably higher in the table than they are at the moment. So
yeah, but they haven't been that good recently, to be fair. Yeah. I mean, I'll give you guys a fair shout going. I mean, trust me, the championship relegation battle, at least for the last spot, I think is really going to go down to the wire. Obviously, Wednesday already down, we know that. I think Leicester are practically down as well because they just look shit right now. Like, they can't, that draw against Wednesday, crap. Like, the defeat against Swansea in their most recent game where they had about 50 chances that they spurned and then conceded at the other end. Yeah. Vipotnik, really good finish. I mean, Vipotnik's having a ridiculous season. He's definitely going to either move up the league or even into the Premier League this summer. You could see.
But I was going to say, with Leicester specifically, winning the title 10 years ago when no one even expected.
I mean, could you imagine it? It's ridiculous. How it's worked out to be this way. 10 years, 10 seasons exactly since they won the Premier League. Could be a season they drop back into League One for the first time since I think they were in League One a couple of seasons before they went into the Premier League, before they won it.
That's my point exactly, but, it's been a crazy long time. How things happen.
I think the damaging thing for them is if they do drop is they are genuinely financially fucked. No relegation clauses in their squad. They got Harry Winks, who's currently on 90 grand a week, which is ridiculous enough for the Championship, let alone League One. they are going to be incredibly fucked financially if they drop into League One.
I was
Yeah.
going to say that. I was going to say they don't nickname him 40, do they? Harry? Is it Harry Winks?
Yeah, Harry
I was going to say that. Yeah, if they nickname him 40, that's a betting sponsorship for him right there. So and maybe for us, who knows? But just a little casual plug there while we're here. But no, I think you've mentioned that that particular case that they've got no relegate. They're fucked in terms of finances. So
I just think it's incredibly naive. Like it's like a similar situation to Tottenham in a way. Even though I'm not sure about Tottenham's situation if they've got relegation clauses in their contracts or not. Tottenham fans, Kyron, if you're watching, don't forget to like and subscribe. Actually, I think you already have. Never mind, forget that. But if you are watching, Kyron, let us know in the comments. My mate, big Tottenham fan. But yeah, he with like how naive you can be as a club like Leicester to be like, oh, we're not going to be in any sort of danger of relegation. Like, which I can kind of get the point sort of, if like, but they knew the points deduction was coming. This is why to me it's incredibly naive. You know the points deduction is coming. You know you're not going to have the money to rebuild the squad really in that summer. Yet you still don't put, and you've just come down from the Premier League.
Yeah.
Surely you've got to think more on your feet and be like, oh, maybe we should just chuck a couple in just in case.
Protect
no, they
your
haven't.
investments.
So
yeah, it's
the chances of them getting players out is not going to be easy for them in the summer.
No.
Like, and in League One, it's going to be even more difficult. They're going to be They're literally going to be having. They're going to be letting players go on free.
Yeah.
On a free, they won't be making many money off sales.
No.
They're going to lose money anyway from the relegation. There's no parachute payments from the Championship down into League One.
No.
That only exists from the Premier League down to the Championship.
Right.
So, like, and they're somehow going to have to fork out these ridiculous astronomical wages for some of their players as well, which is going to be beyond me as to how they're going to figure that one out. Like,
and I mean, is that going to harm their chances of going straight back up? But that's the other thing as well.
I don't think they will. That's the thing.
I don't think
and
they
other
will
people
either.
do. If they go down, I don't think they're going straight back up.
And depending on the fortunes of the playoffs for League One, they might be playing at Bradford City next year. Good old Valley Parade.
Well, it depends if Bradford go up or not.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just ridiculous to think that. I think they might have played against each other back when Bradford were in the Premier League, and those were the days. That was peak era of the Premier League, I might add. But as a watcher for me anyway. But
Paul Jewell.
Yeah, Paul Jewell. If you're watching, like and subscribe. Benito Carboni, love your work, mate. One of Bradford and Sydney FC's finest. I mean, he's the only player in history, I think, to play for both sides. I'm pretty sure. So.
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure I was actually in Sydney when he signed for you guys. I think from memory, it might have been around the.
It makes sense because you were there in 06.
That's right. It was that weekend. That's right.
Yeah.
I think I was having breakfast somewhere near the Opera House and heard that he was going to sign. So, but I think that's I think Leicester are going to be fucked if it sort of goes that way, and it's looking like it is. I just don't see them going back up, and Sheffield Wednesday.
I think right now that relegation, like in the Championship, is going to go down to that last spot, that 22nd spot. And it's pretty much going to be between, I mean, look, if that points deduction goes through for you, it's definitely going to be you involved in it. But even right now, you're still somewhat in the picture. I think Blackburn have done just enough now to probably pull themselves clear of it, although they were very average against, albeit a very much informed Southampton side, I will add. But it's probably going to go down. Like Oxford are always going there, but they have been picking up some impressive results when they need them, which does make me think, oh, maybe they've still got enough to stay up. Portsmouth were looking in some bad form, but that win against Ipswich is massive for them. So it's a really interesting close battle between those teams, kind of down the bottom right now. And we're switching up to the playoffs. It's getting more interesting by the week. Obviously, Ipswich, even though they lost that game against Portsmouth, you'd still think we've still got one game in hand as well. You'd still think that they've probably got enough there for the automatics. The second. Just joining again, people. The second automatic spot behind Cov.
Oh God!
It really comes down to the rest of the top six. Like who's going to go into the playoffs? I think I said to you before. I think it's going to be Cov, Ipswich, Southampton, Millwall, Borough, Hull. Is how I think it's going to line up down to sixth.
Yeah.
But I think Wrexham are done. at this point.
What a
They
shame.
got torn apart by Southampton the other
Yeah.
week and were very average last
Yeah,
weekend
what
against Birmingham, who have literally nothing to play for at this point.
Yeah,
So awful performance from them.
they-
And maybe. Sorry, I keep cutting you
No,
off.
that's okay. I was just going to say they won't be making another Tom Brady documentary for Amazon Prime, I think, Birmingham, because I did watch the first few episodes of that, and it sums up. It's like Saints having that documentary and starting the season so poorly, but that's what happens when you get a film crew in at your club. Like, you pump them up, and this is our year, and Birmingham would have said the same thing, and look what they've got to show. But quickly on a Wrexham point of view, I said this weeks ago, I'm actually glad they're not going to make the playoffs, because I just, come at me in the comments, people, but I'm just...
Look, these are going to be... We've done some ridiculous shout-outs, but I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'm about to do two of the most ridiculous, if you're watching, sort of shout-outs. Look, I completely disagree with what you're saying, because I love the project and the way it's going. Like, look, even if they're not going up this year, which they probably won't at this point, sack Parky in the summer, bring in a more experienced championship manager, they'll be fine next year, hopefully. Like, I love Rob and Ryan, and if you're watching Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Nah, but I'm a
Could you imagine? Yeah. I'm sorry. It's one thing calling out footballers in the Bundesliga and the A-League. It's another thing calling out fucking top-tier A-list celebrities.
Yeah, you probably won't see this, but
you never know.
You never know. I mean, 40 Winks might, they might give us a sponsorship after that call before, but I just...
We might appear in the next Deadpool film, for all you know.
Deadpool ABCFC. It's got a nice ring to it, but I just...
No, you might be Deadpool might be sitting in his apartment and might have the computer on, and one of our videos might be playing in the background.
could be possible, but I mean, I'm a football purist. I just don't like the concept of them. It was great in the non-league and whatnot in the National League and going up. I'm just not a fan of having money to burn and back to back promotions. So it's
trust me, you'll be fine with it if they own West Brom.
Yeah. But
I mean, look, they're the one example. They're the one example. Like, Rob and Ryan are the one example of American ownership working in English football team. Well, I guess they're Welsh, but you get my point.
But don't Carlisle have American ownership now? And I think...
Yeah, but where the fuck are Carlisle? Yeah. Carlisle are hardly pushing for the playoffs in the Championship.
No, and Burnley's going to go down. I think one of our ex-NFL players got a part stake in them as well.
JJ Watt, yeah. I mean, look, the biggest American owner in the Premier League outside the Glazers, and we all know how fucking tragic they are for United. Old Todd Bowley and Egg Barley and Clear Lake at Chelsea. And the absolute circus of a way they run
bring back Abramovich, I say. That's they were the good old days when nobody asked any questions and everything was just swept under the rug, and now we know what sort of happened with him. But I love that this has turned from a genuine discussion about how the permutations of the league, just random shout-outs and random rantings about different things.
Look, we're reaching the end of our run time here, I think, we're rambling. Look, all I'll say is the English football model of ownership needs to start taking a leaf out of the German one. The 50+1 rule is, long been a very successful way of running clubs, hence why a lot of the clubs in Germany are so well run. Obviously, that's not the case of all of them. Your Schalke mate will attest to the fact that for a number of years his club was basically run to the fucking dirt until they started to rebuild, and Hamburg suffered a similar problem as well until they've been rebuilding over the last few years. Largely the German football model is very impressive for club ownership.
Yeah, it definitely works like most of the time.
Question is, when are you going to buy your stake in St. Pauli?
We'll have to wait and see. I've got to go over to the Millen Tour to see a game first, so that's definitely on the list at some point. So if there's anyone out there who wants to hook me up with a free flight and Airbnb and a ticket, I'll be more.
If St. Pauli want to sponsor this podcast,
they seem to sponsor every other program around. They've got a music program and.
Oh, by the way, I will just quickly mention one more thing. You remember those RefCam videos?
Yeah.
The one they did one for our game last week. You should check it out.
Okay, I will. I definitely will. I hope it's just Hulk Hulk Val and Carol Metz just carrying on after conceding.
No, there is like a moment when the referee like has a word. You remember when Elise and Metz kind of had that little like coming together and then kind of did that weird kind of lazy handshake.
Oh, vaguely.
Yeah, that was kind of caught like because he had to explain it to them both in English because I don't think either of them speak German, which is surprising to me why Metz doesn't speak German considering he's played for you for like over 5 years. But I guess whatever. Estonians can't pick it up as easy, maybe, I don't know.
Well, we're saying with Jackson Irvine, he's been there for 4 years.
And there's a great moment as well with Musiala. It's the politest I've ever seen a player talk to the ref. Just watch it, it's hilarious.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to watch it once we jump off, I think. But, I mean, obviously, we're probably going to wrap up shortly, but is there anything else you want to cover before we wrap up? And when we've got something pretty big happening Saturday night, from our Bundesliga stuff,
Yeah, that's the perfect wrap up for it. Yeah, I mean, obviously, join us back here on the channel on Saturday night, people, for the Saints Crows game. We're actually live streaming an AFL game. Hopefully, Crows win so we can get some proper like, frustration from Ben on the live stream. So join us for that. I can't remember, Ben. You're the one who would know this more. When is the kickoff or whatever the fuck you call it?
I think it's called the kickoff. First bounce, first throw. 7:30. Can't speak. 7:35. Melbourne time. So.
Okay, so we'll probably go live around 7:15, maybe 7:10.
Yeah, build up the atmosphere, which is basically just.
And we might even, you know what? Actually, why don't we go live at 7? We'll do a proper build up to it. We'll have a chat for half an hour.
Get all the tech bugs out.
We'll go live at 7. Nice round number. So we'll go live at 7 people on Saturday night. So stay tuned for that. No spoilers in the chat because obviously Sydney are playing around the same time, and I don't want to have that ruined. So I'm going to watch that after. So no spoilers from A, you, Ben, and B, the people who are watching in the chat.
No, I definitely won't be spoiling it. I'll be more focused on, how I can, get my team to win back-to-back games in Adelaide. But it's a free hit for us, and as you said, there might be some interesting reactions from me if things aren't going well. I've already said I'm going to have a drink on that particular.
Well, I just realised it's in Adelaide. 7:35 this time, right?
So 7:05 then. So, but it's going to be one of the rare occasions I am going to be having a drink during the game. I didn't the other night, and I wasn't the better for it. And thank God we won. That's all I'll say. But it's going to be good to. We haven't done a live stream for a while, and
not since the World Cup.
No, definitely not. And we got some interesting Bundesliga action. You guys have already broken just about every record there is to break already. So, and we're just got to win a game and hopefully climb up the table.
Well, I mean, that's the big thing about this weekend, the Bundesliga, is we can wrap up the title this weekend if we beat Stuttgart. So,
if we beat Köln, we get 3 points and hopefully.
Well, I mean, it is a huge step towards staying up. Yeah,
most definitely. But I did see Hanover third in the second division at the moment, so that could potentially be the playoff. I mean, that'll be interesting in itself to talk about sort of the closer it gets as to who's going to end up in that playoff, and that's going to mean 2 extra games to be talking about because I think that's on before the end of the season if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yes, that's how it would normally work. They're not going to play it next season, are they?
I don't know. I'm so disillusioned by my team that I don't know what's going on with them. I just don't want them to. I don't want them to be in that situation. Yeah.
We'll wrap up there, guys. Hope you enjoyed our Premier League chat. We might do more because it's such an interesting league to talk about. Especially since we're planning on dropping the A-League all up next season because it's such a dull league to talk about largely.
Oh, City versus Brisbane Saturday night as well. So. That's going to be that.
That's
you can tell I'm excited for that, can't you? So couldn't care less. Anyway.
So we'll wrap up now. Hope you guys enjoyed another episode of the Tea Break. So peace out, take care, and we'll see you 7:00 Saturday night for the beginning of that live stream for the Saints Crows game. So peace out, take care, and we'll see you guys then.
See you then, guys.
Bye.
Take care.